Hey folks, how are we going? And today we're going to do something really simple. We're going to understand how we can deploy a very simple virtual network on Azure with a few subnets in it as well. So the first thing that you need to do is log into your Azure Portal, and then you can go up to your search bar and search for virtual networks as I have done. You can see that I have already created 2 virtual networks, but we'll be starting from the very beginning. So let's try to replicate this one. So this is a virtual network that I already have, and it has 2 subnets, as you can see over here, and those IP address ranges. So we'll replicate that. The first thing we'll do is delete this virtual network, and based on how we can do that, should be right. Yep. So that should happen on its own in a while. Yep. And yeah, deleted the virtual network. Perfect. So if I reload it, it doesn't come up. So let's go fix that. So use any of your resource groups and one of your subscriptions that you probably have some money on, and it was named app vnet. Now you can deploy this in any region. From my particular application, I want it to be around my place, so it's going to be in Australia Southeast. So yeah, don't do review and create, just do next. And I'm not running any of these on because the firewall I don't have in this subnet, but another one. But I will talk about these ones in another video. But basically, if we turn on Azure Firewall, we get an Azure Firewall subnet as well, because it needs its own subnet. Anyways, so for any virtual network that you create, Azure gives you a default subnet, which we don't need, so we'll delete that one. And then we'll go over here and say add a subnet. Once again, this is the firewall subnet I was talking about earlier. Anyways, we'll come back to default, and we'll name our first subnet frontend. This will hold all our frontend machines. It could be your JavaScript or Node.js server or anything else. And as for the second one, we have to decide on the address range. I think this address range is alright, so we'll stick with, actually, that one, that should be alright. Yeah, so that is the address range we'll stick with over here. We have 256 addresses, that should be alright as well. Just add to that one. Also, I'll create another subnet. We'll call this backend. And you can see that the dynamic static IP addresses come in, and we already get a starting address that is excluding the front-end address that we had, similar to the other one. So we have both 256 addresses in both the subnets, which we are now ready to review and create. You can create any tags in it, you can put anything you want, and then after that you just click on review and create. It will run a final validation over here. Validation passes, and we go over here and it says initializing deployment. Should not take that long. Perfect. So we have our deployment. That's our address space. These are the 2 subnets that we created. We can have a look that they are 251 IP addresses. You might notice that when we were creating these subnets, we were shown that we are going to have somewhere around 255 addresses, but at the end we don't have those. That's because 4 addresses are reserved. 255 is reserved for broadcasting, 0.0 is reserved as the home and to identify the subnet itself, 0.1 is also reserved, and 0.2 and 0.3 are reserved by Azure itself. That's why we don't have those 4 IPs. And we can go deep into each of these subnets, and we can change any of these things that we want to change. So we can associate a NAT gateway with it and other things, and I'll get to that in a later video. But this is basically how you create a private subnet, and you can start loading your virtual machines into these subnets.